And just like that, we're back. How is everybody doing? Let me take a look here. Wow. Some of you guys I ain't seen in a while. Martin's daddy, always a patriot. And Amazing 80. Yeah. I appreciate you guys that keep reaching out. Timothy, Chris Turner, what's up? Coffee and cowboyism. No, I am nothing like somebody that doesn't know right from wrong. I'm not like somebody that would simp somebody simply because they have a talent and look beyond them being abusive and tormenting a grieving family and accusing very innocent people of heinous crimes against children from a celebrity's platform. No, I will never be like that. Sorry, buddy. Native J, good to see you, bro. Chachi. And Northern Maine. Yeehaw. All right. Who else we got here? Some I haven't seen in a while, man. Angry American. Really good to see you guys, man. Twisted Tennessee. Brett Brinkman. All right. So, yeah, I appreciate you guys reaching out. You know, I know it's been a while. And, it's pretty much been the same old. I just haven't been really in the mood to make videos. And, there's been a lot going on. God, that's much better. I've got some modulation there. Much better sound in there. So there's been a lot going on. As you know, my brother is fighting for his life right now. He's got cancer on the brain, home and hospice care. They were going to put a stent in because they thought that he was talking out of his mind for a while, and turned out it was a UTI infection, and it wasn't that fluid on his brain. So they didn't do the stent, but he's just sort of waiting it out. I mean, there's nothing. It's not something you can do anything about. And then, as you know, our 13-year-old granddaughter committed suicide. Tired of being bullied at school. Her grandmother, her mom's mom, took her and ran off to Florida with her when she was about 4, and just hasn't let, it's pretty much isolated her, from the rest of the family. And so her brother, the one of the boys that I have custody of, he'd only get to see her, maybe 2-3 times a year, but he did talk to her on the phone quite a bit. He did get to spend a summer with her. But anyway, he's not been, he's 12 years old now, and, it's a pretty big deal. His sister, taking her own life. And so we've been trying to keep him busy. We bought a campsite where, you can buy it for like a year, 2 years, 3 years, and just put a camper there and leave it there, which is what we did. So we can just take off. He can be around other kids and activities on the weekend and just sort of get away. So that sort of helped a little bit with him. And then my first wife, as I told many of you, she had a brain aneurysm when she was just turning 30 years old. And she really messed her up pretty bad. She was in a vegetative state for quite a while and then had total memory loss. And then she eventually recovered enough to function about 60%. It would remind you of somebody that had a pretty bad stroke. But then other health issues. She ended up in an assisted living facility about 10 years ago. And, well, now she's been moved to hospice. So we don't know how that's going to go. You know, that's the mother of my kids. And so yeah, I've had a lot of reasons not being in the mood to put up with Crack Squad's negativity. You know, because if you tell the truth about Ryan Upchurch, you know, you're a pedo with AIDS, and you know, you're just every worst thing a person can be, right? And it gets old. And it is striking to me how similar this other jackass is that we're putting in check. And you know, and while I'm on the subject, man, a big shout out to Two Lees in a Pod. If you guys want to listen to a good podcast where, I don't know how many of you guys remember the Swamp People reality show, but one of the guys, the guy that actually started the show, he has a YouTube channel called Get Swamped, and he is on the Two Leads podcast almost nightly. Just a heck of a nice guy. And then a lawyer that is helping out the people that this other turd is harassing. You know, similar to what Upchurch did to the Rodney family, only he's doing it daily. Just daily, nonstop. And then he's got his stupid, extremely low IQ fans believing that they are somehow harassing him and bothering him, but this lady don't even have a YouTube channel. It's insane. And so that's some of the things I'm going to touch on, you know, and just to give you some idea of the level of harassment that Jeremy Hales from the What the Hales channel has, you know, just imposed on these people. CPS has been sent to their house 28 times because of him, and never found anything. But Florida is mandated that if they get a report, they have to go check it out, even if they know it's nonsense. They still have to respond. And so they've wasted county resources out the yin yang, and sent CPS to those people's house 28 times. And you know, and I know that, and you know, me, you know, my wife and I have been in the foster care provider system for quite a while. My whole family. I have many adopted brothers and sisters. I have many adopted nieces and nephews, and I have a couple of adopted children myself. So I know the system very well. And I can tell you that, without question, CPS's position would be, my God, if there's something we can charge this lady with, let's do it so these people will quit bothering us. That would be the mentality. And they've not found anything. This lady, Lynette, you know, may very well be a little nutty, but we're all a little nutty. And she had custody of this child of hers the day the child was born. The child left the hospital after being born with Lynette Preston as her mother. You know, I know Jeremy Hales likes to lie to people, likes to lie to his 700 subscriber fan base the same way that Upchurch lies to his fan base. And, but the truth is, she had custody of that child the day the child was born, and she left the hospital as the legal mother of that child. and none of that child's extended family was anywhere to be found. So just about every word that's came out of his mouth about that child, those people, is just grossly, if it isn't grossly exaggerated, it's completely fabricated. And, the beauty of it is, if you do something long enough that is wrong, it's eventually going to blow up in your face. And that's what's happening to poor Jeremy now, is it's blowing up in his face. He overcooked it. He left the pot on the stove way too long. Everything's sticking now, and it's starting to stink, and there's smoke coming out. And he's gonna I think there's gonna be a day when he wished he wouldn't have started, because he can't finish it now, because all of his lies have been exposed. And let's put it this way. In much the same way, Crack Squad tried to get me charged for finally doing back to them what they had done to me for 2 years. The same bullshit happened with them. It was laughed out of court, thrown out of court. They lied through their teeth, pestered the shit out of another small police department, and convinced them to rewrite the charge a second time, and that was thrown out. And that's what's going to happen to Jeremy Hales. I mean, there's just not a doubt in my mind. There's no judge in the world that is going to grant him a monetary loss after taking one look at his YouTube channel. That's all they got to do, is just glance at his YouTube channel just for a second, and his case is done. It's just over. You can't make videos slandering somebody day in and day out and day in and day out and day in and day out and day in and day out, and encouraging your fans to do it too, and they do. Encouraging your fans to make false CPS reports, watching your fans do false CPS reports on a live stream, and then waltz into a court and go, I'm a victim. It just ain't gonna work. I mean, there's just that math won't compute. Hey, there's two Lees. How we doing, guys? Appreciate you stopping by. So I kind of want to mix both, because I know some of you are here for the Upchurch, and I don't understand, and the first thing I'm going to say to JustTrey, son, I want you to get you a pen, because I'm fixing to give you some fatherly advice, and I want you to write this down. Okay. You write down that on November 3rd at 9:14 p.m., I warned you not to get involved with Upchurch in any way. And just go ahead and write that down right now. And if you think you are if you think you are any better or any luckier or any see something. Oh, I gotta get that off there. Hold on one second. Right. See if I can pull this up here. Dun, 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 dun. Anyway, if you think you're any better than or any luckier or got some blessing that all the other people all the other people that Upchurch is, just absolutely slandered to hell and back after he worked with them, you're not. And if you want to know how things are going to end up with you and Upchurch, just look at how they ended up with everybody else that ever worked with him. And that's exactly how it's going to go for you. The exact same way. Because if he helps you in any way, you are now binded to a contract to suck his balls for the rest of your natural life. And the second you don't, he's going to slander you. Period. Now, how do we know that? Well, he's done that to every single person that he has ever worked with. That's how we know that. And so there's just no way that he can get away with winning this case with Kylie Rodney. And you don't want to be around when that shit goes down, dude. They're suing him for $30 million and they're going to win. They're going to win. And I would suspect they're going to get more. They're not only going to get what they're asking for, but the jury is going to be so outraged at his behavior, they're going to award even more. And you just don't want to be a part of it. I'm not a big fan of I'll tell you now, I'm not a big fan of just plain rap. That's not my thing. It never has been. I did like a lot of the stuff Upchurch did where it's some country chorus with some rap verses. That's cool. I like that. When it has a real guitar and real drums and instead of this can beat shit, right? Some of it I can tolerate. So I was never a big fan of Adam Calhoun's music. Never. The reason I watched Adam Calhoun was because of the political commentary. We had a lot of things in common in that regard. So I would always watch his videos, his vlogs, his life vlogs. And I can tell you that every single time I ever heard Adam Calhoun speak about Upchurch, he was, one, complimenting him on his talent, and two, just absolutely giving all the praise he could for the feature and stuff that Ryan did for him, even when he didn't have to. Even when someone was asking him specifically about his talent and they didn't even bring Upchurch up, he would first give Upchurch credit before he took any credit himself. And he was consistent that way for 3 years. And so you're not going to tell me it wasn't genuine, because it was never forced. It was just something he did. Whenever he spoke about his career, it included praise to Upchurch for what Upchurch did for him. Every time. You know what I never heard? I never heard Ryan Upchurch say a good word about him, ever. Not only him, but nobody. He never had a good word to say about anyone. And when he started this paranoid shit, after he started doing dope, which is the reason why he's being sued for $30 million today, and for those of you that, I still get people leaving comments like, what's your source, man? It's so hard dealing with people that have such low IQs, because it's frustrating because the rest of us, got sense enough to know that court cases are public information, and all you got to do is go look yourself. They're publicly available. You don't need a source. But Ryan tried every way to wiggle out of the lawsuit, and he didn't. They rejected every attempt. It's moved through the discovery phase. All the evidence is in line, and it's going to be heard first part of the year, and he's going to fucking lose. You just remember me telling you that. He has no defense. And ain't no jury going to have sympathy for some millionaire kid with a foul mouth accusing grieving parents of being common thieves and faking their child's death for GoFundMe money. And then continuing to do it after they filed a suit against him. After they filed the suit, he continued to do it. He's got no defense. He's going to lose. So you just remember me telling you that, JustTrey. If you got any sense at all, you'll attach yourself to some of the other people in the game that don't slander everybody they work with, that aren't hooked on drugs, that aren't isolating themselves and being a recluse shut-in and buying their closest friendships. Because unfortunately for Ryan, he is surrounded with yes boys that are 110% dependent upon him. Their food, their clothes, their car, their house, their living, their entertainment, they're going anywhere. All of it comes from Ryan. They do not work. They have none of their own money, none of their own means. And they know if they say one single thing he doesn't like, it's over. So all they do is walk around sucking his balls. And I'm telling you, JustTrey, you do not want to be a part of that. Stay away from it. There was a time when a feature from Upchurch meant a lot. It don't anymore. It's not 2017 anymore. Creeker 2 just didn't happen. It's over. Now he puts out shit, crap, nonsense with canned beats, isolated, and takes every single thing someone says as some kind of a personal attack because he lives in a fucking circle jerk of paranoia and a bunch of sissy boys that want him all to themselves, so they fill his head full of nonsense, just like the diss tracks that don't exist. There are no Adam Calhoun diss tracks. That is a made-up fable fairy tale. And Adam Calhoun was nothing but a damn good friend. Period. And we know that based on the history. If you want to know what someone's going to do tomorrow, you look at what they did yesterday. If you want to know how someone's going to act tomorrow, you look at what they did yesterday. If you want to know how someone's going to treat you, if you ever have a disagreement, just look at how they treat everybody else. And the list of people that Ryan Upchurch has shit on over absolute just nonsense in his head that doesn't just weird paranoia that isn't even there. It's like it's not even real, and yet he still thinks that everybody's out to get him. And he honest to God thinks that when someone does something, it's got something to do with him, and it never does. Nashville is spitting out millionaires constantly. They do not ever think of Ryan Upchurch. There isn't a producer in Nashville. that thinks of Ryan Upchurch before he puts something out. There isn't an entertainer in Nashville that thinks about Ryan Upchurch before he does something. I know Ryan thinks there is, but they don't. I bet you that 90% of the people in the business there don't even know who he is. They don't even know who he is. It's not 2017 anymore. And and I have to get a kick out of, honest to God, it's laughable to me how you guys have never figured out this stupid, oh man, I'm number one, he's number one on these streaming services. But you can't figure out that that's just lame ass trickery nonsense they do to get the people, the artists that use their streaming services to distribute their music. It's a way for these streaming services to get these guys addicted and make them think they're special. And the truth is, they're not number one. They're not. You see, if Billy is a remarkable recording artist, and every song that he makes is a number one hit, and he puts out a hit on October 1st, and Ryan Upchurch, a has-been that has fallen clear off the game, puts out a garbage song full of geeker voice and muddy canned beats on October 20th, which one's going to sell more that day? On October 20th. Well, of course, Upchurch, right? Because everybody already bought Billy's album on the 1st, the 2nd, and the 3rd, and the 4th, and the 5th, and the 6th, and the 7th. And by about the 8th, the sales have trickled off. No one buys the same record twice. So when Ryan puts out one on the 20th, and he sells more than Billy, who put one out on the 1st, is it because Ryan's is better? Well, no. It's because that's the only new fucking song out that day, you simpletons. That's all. There's not a number one. None of Ryan's shit ever gets a second of radio play. There's one. None of Ryan's shit ever gets mentioned on any podcast, any big podcast. They all know he's too toxic. They will not mention his fucking name because they know he'll take it as some kind of an attack and start making videos slandering him. I mean, Jelly Roll learned his lesson, giving him a compliment on a huge podcast, and Ryan turning it into some personal attack. Chase Matthews learned the hard way of giving Ryan praise during a magazine interview and Ryan turning it into some kind of a attack that just wasn't there because of the fucking paranoia from being a recluse shut-in and not fucking being real with people. Being surrounded by, yes, Ryan, are your balls sweaty? Let me wipe them for you. I know you didn't want it to rain today, Ryan. So even though it's wet outside, it's not raining. It's really not rain. It's just, it's just like the sky's wet and stuff, but it's not rain. I promise it's not. I mean, that's the fucking life he lives. It's sad, man. It's sad. Not a single one of his friends had sense enough to tell him, Ryan, shut up. You're about to get sued. Ryan, you can't slander grieving parents that are in the middle of a national news story. Ryan, you can't go around saying these people's child's not real and pick out another actual girl that's in high school still and totally dox her and claim that she's a body double for a fake girl that don't exist. Don't do that. Ryan, don't do that. He don't have anybody in his life that's a good enough friend to do that. If he comes outside and he's got like a piece of food stuck to the side of his mouth, he don't have a single fucking person in his inner circle that'll say, hey, dude, wipe your mouth off. Not a one. I mean, if he came out of the bathroom and had some toilet paper sticking out of the back of his pants, he'd walk around all day that way because would nobody tell him. And that's the fucking life he created for himself. Everybody around him's got to walk on eggshells because they're all dependent on him. And they know. They just cannot ever say anything in opposition because their whole world will crumble. Where would they go? Where would they live? What would they eat? What would they drive? Where would they get money? So, you know, it is what it is. And I already know that if JustTrey messes with Upchurch next year, we'll be listening to Upchurch trash mouth and JustTrey. The same way he trash mouth Chase Matthews. A very good, honest kid, man. That didn't do anything to deserve it. Nothing to deserve it. The same way Ryan let one of his buddies make up a fable, fabricate a fable out of thin air that Adam Calhoun had diss tracks that no one's ever heard magically. And it's because there are none. There are no diss tracks. Never has been, never would have been. Adam had nothing but respect for Ryan. And even after all the bullshit Ryan said about him and did to him for no fucking reason, he still was the bigger man. And now he's doing the same shit to broadnecks when Ryan's name was the first one on their fucking list. The problem is you can't get to him. You can't get him on the fucking phone. You can't get him to respond to you. You can't get him to return your fucking calls. He's got all these fucking little simps around him blocking all that shit. So, good luck, Crack Squad. Your boy is fixing to be broke. The case is moving forward. You got Google. Use it. Rodney versus Upchurch. And read it and fucking weep. Everything I warned you shit stains about has happened. Everything. From day one, I told you were going to destroy his algorithm, and you did. 2, I told you were going to destroy his credibility, and you did. And I tried to warn all of them, dude, man, this shit's going to get you sued. As a fan, I said, dude, this shit's going to get you sued. And what did I get? I got attacked for it. Well, goodbye, man, because I don't think Ryan's got $30 million to hand over. I think there'll be liens put on properties, and there'll be a sheriff's sale. That's what I think. So you just go ahead and write that down so I can rub it in one last time before he has to ask his dad for a job again. And now to move on to, I'll talk a little bit about Mr. Hales. As a cancer survivor myself, and you know, that's something I've never, it's something I've never, well, okay, honey. Well, what are you doing here then? Go find something to do. So anyway, made you look, didn't I? I don't understand why people yak about their health to strangers on the internet anyway. I wouldn't. I'm just not one to do that. Now, I've talked about having cancer long after I went through it and all that. But while I had cancer, I wouldn't have wanted a bunch of people pitying me. I wouldn't have wanted a bunch of people tiptoeing around me. I wouldn't have wanted a bunch of people like oogling every time I was around. You just want to be treated normal. So I just never mentioned it to anybody. After a while, it became obvious. But it blows my mind that people do that anyway. Now, I could see if, let's say it's terminal. Yeah, you might want to tell your supporters that, maybe. But, if you go to the doctor and you get a treatable diagnosis, there's no reason to be blabbing that and getting everybody to have pity for you. I don't get that. Okay, that's just me. If that's your thing, do it. But, as we all know, George is, for some of you guys that were here from the former Creek Squad, a once respectable group of people that was destroyed by a handful of people we call Crack Squad. And now it's a laughing stock that you would be embarrassed to be a part of. We all know that, Jeremy Hales' girlfriend, George, Martha, had cancer a while back, and she got treated for it. And obviously it worked. And I knew something was up between those two around February. I started seeing tension. I started hearing little digs. I saw I knew something was up. I could tell. And I will argue them two haven't been a couple since then. Everything they've done has been an act since then. And Jeremy's got her pigeonholed. He's probably holding a substantial amount of equity hostage. And so she's got to put up with his shit long enough to get her investment out. She had a house when she met him. So there's no doubt in my mind. There's no doubt in my mind that that's the reason why she sticks around and she's tolerated as shit. But you're not going to tell me, and you're not going to convince me. I've been stomping around this earth for 64 years now. Been married twice. Or twice divorced, rather. And been through a lot of shit. No boyfriend or girlfriend is going to act the way we've seen those two act for the last year. That's not how a couple interacts. You don't, as a boyfriend that loves his girlfriend, okay, you wouldn't be in a different state and be on camera bragging about being a single bachelor, calling your girlfriend an employee while you hire a female camera person that's going to be riding around with you all day that you absolutely know for certain that he has flirted with before. That's just not, it defies human nature. It defies human behavior. It defies all. One, no boyfriend would be that disrespectful to his girlfriend if he loved her. And no girlfriend would put up with that shit. So the fact that George didn't have a problem with it tells me she was done with him. She don't have any feelings for him anymore. She don't give a shit what he does. And I just, it shocks me that nobody, or maybe others have, but I haven't heard anybody mention it, that haven't picked up on it. I mean, the amount of digs he's taken at her that were just uncalled for and extremely disrespectful. And she just grins and goes on like nothing. That defies logic if it's two people that care about each other. If you don't give a shit about somebody, then you wouldn't care what they say. But if you love them, it's going to hurt you if they're saying shitty stuff to you. It's going to hurt your feelings, and you're going to see it. You can't fake that stuff. So, Jeremy, you're not fooling anybody anymore. It's the cat's out of the bag. You can knock it off. I mean, I think some of you know all the big plans about the Florida property. That conversation ended about January. There was never no more mention of that. And that was when George left the first time. And she might have came back to appear on camera, but she didn't come back to be his girlfriend anymore. How many of you tell me, you put a 1 in the chat if you would, a 2 if you wouldn't. If you had been away from your girlfriend for 3 months, you're in love, okay? She's the only person you're seeing. She's the only person you're having sex with. And you're apart for 3 months. Would you put up with her leaving town the first day you get there? Repeatedly? Relationships don't work that way, folks. They don't work that way. And how many times have we seen this now? When Jeremy's in Ohio, George is in Florida. And if Jeremy comes to Florida, George is headed for Ohio. And all you guys might say, well, what business is that of yours, PBR? Well, it's really none of my business. But when you make yourself a public figure and you're putting your life out there for everybody to see, then you got to expect some critique and criticism. And had he not blamed it on cancer, I wouldn't care. But I'll be damned if we don't have us another Wade Deaver. I'll be damned if we don't have us another one. He sat there last Sunday, folks, and he put on this big fucking show with these fake tears claiming her cancer came back, and that's why she left the same day he got there. He got to Florida, she left. Boom. Because she don't want to be under the same roof with him anymore. And he told his 700,000 subscribers it was because of cancer. And I'm here to tell you, Jeremy Hales, that is a fucking lie. It's a lie. It's not true. She left because she don't want to be anywhere near you anymore. And she's tolerating you because you got you've got her assets held hostage. And she's got to play your stupid game. I think if she had any sense, she'd get a lawyer and call your bluff. That's what she would do if she had any sense. I would. Because along with 700,000 people listening to your bullshit, Jeremy, there's been 700,000 people hear you say, we bought this. We got that. We did this. So she probably could get a court to give her half of it. Despite what kind of bullshit contracts or agreements or anything you have. And man, you let a jury find out that you were lying about cancer, dude. Wait till a jury finds out that you look into your camera and you fucking lie about something like cancer, dude, because your girlfriend dumped your ass again. You guys got to see what he said to her. Let me see if I can. Let me find something here. Let me pull something up. Unbelievable. I mean, this guy is just an insufferable piece of shit. The similarities are so much, man. It's like, make this big. Let me zoom it in. Okay, now let me see. Let me share it and see how big it looks. Sometimes these little screenshots are hard to do on a live stream. Okay. You guys probably can't see that, can you? All right, let me do something else. Hold on. Let me stop sharing it for a minute and let me see if I can make it bigger. Let me make it bigger. This will probably do it. We'll see if this one will show a little better. Oh, yeah, that's much better. A little bigger there. So, you know, you can see up here that my hunch was right. I literally had this hunch in January of this year. And I know there are comments out there where I called it. I'll have to go find them. But I called this back in January. But George says to Jeremy here, and this is a legit screen cap from a legit source, very legit. It says, no, I've told you in the past that I would not leave just because you're upset. I'm committed to working and helping you with the court cases and the schoolhouse. You've even said it yourself that I could leave once those court cases were over. Does that sound like a boyfriend and a girlfriend? Here's his response, Mr. Christian. I mean, I almost puke in my mouth when him and those two jerks he was live with tonight start their preaching and Christianity bullshit crap. They are the worst example of Christians I've ever seen in my life. If you people were Christians, you'd be helping John and Lynette. That's what you'd be doing. You'd be doing what two leaves in a pod is doing. Not slandering them, stalking them, and telling lies about them and gross exaggerations, and not lying for Jeremy like you did tonight. Because you guys know George left in January. You know she did too. You were there. Here's Jeremy's response to his girlfriend. Fucking narcissistic bitch. You're so fucking toxic. No, guys, this is the same dude that chased Guapo around an entire storage unit auction complex, making hollow threats, trying to get Guapo to do something so then he could get Guapo kicked off the premises by his buddy that was clearly going to be biased for him. He treated George exactly the way he treated Guapo that day. Someone that had been nothing but a friend to him. The only thing Guapo ever was a friend to him. Never did anything to just a friend. He says, you will have your day in court. Leave. The guy's going to sue his girlfriend. What are you going to sue her for, Jeremy? I don't think there's any courts out there where you get to sue people for telling the truth. You can't sue. That's why I'm not afraid of you. Because everything I say about you is true. And I can prove it. So you can't sue me for telling the truth about you. You send me one of them cease and desist letters. Honest to God, I kid you not, I will poop on it on a live stream and put it in a mail envelope and mail it back to you. At what point in your life are you going to learn that nobody wants you? And wants your toxic bullshit. He says, you're a pathological liar, a narcissist, manipulation and theft in their lives. And I don't believe George is any of those things. He says, nobody wants you. Your empty fucking promises, fake personality, and your disfigured body from the little surgery she had to get a cancer lump taken out. Least of all me. That's his girlfriend. When he says we, that's who he's talking about. That's the we. Now, how many people think that's his girlfriend? Still. Because I know better. Man, I'll tell you what. I wish I could have got a job like where like I could use my gut instincts to make a living, because I'd be wealthy by now. I've rarely been wrong. When I just get a gut feeling about something, it just, man, I've been right so many times. It's scary. And I literally knew they were done back in January. May have been even before that, but for sure in January, they were done. They have not been boyfriend and girlfriend since in any normalcy. All it's been is her putting up with his shit, taking care of whatever agreement they made so she can get her assets and go. And you can see how abusive he is to her. You know, I saw her sister. Her sister had made a comment on Facebook like a long time ago. I mean, it's been quite a while. But I remember her sister saying Jeremy treated her like crap. And my wife and I were both fans of his because, like I say, man, we were buying storage units long before people did it on YouTube. And we had seen him around. So when he started getting his YouTube channel and stuff, I thought, oh, hey, we seen that guy. There was like a connection there. And, you know, we were fans until I seen he was staging units. And I can tell you, somebody that buys them myself, I don't like to say this, I was in that game pretty heavy long before most of you knew me. I mean, we were doing this, you know, in the early 2000s. But, and, you know, by the time I got to be about 55 years old, I was just pretty well, you know, done with, you know, there's a lot of work involved with that, you know, hauling and unloading and loading and, you know, and, you know, so we slowed way down. We only buy about 3 a year now, but for a while there, we were doing, you know, 5 or 6 a month, you know, at a busy time, maybe 3 a month consistent in the winter. And you just don't strike gold with every unit. You rarely lose. You rarely lose. You always come out ahead. But when I say strike gold, like, you know, open a unit and it's got a gold ring and a diamond ring and money in a safe and, you know, and 3 pew-pews and, you know, I mean, that's just, it happens, but not as often as you would think. The units you'll find like that are usually someone that passed away suddenly, because people that are getting behind on their rent, they'll go take all the good shit out of the unit. But, you know, if they know they don't have the money to pay the rent this month, they'll run over there and they'll get their Rolex and their diamond ring and their, collector knife set and antique doll and stuff and take it with them. And then, you know, leave the big stuff there to be repoed. So I knew there was something up because of seeing him strike gold with every unit. And then me and my wife sat and watched him. And I'll tell you something, Jeremy. You try to fucking deny it, there's a little something I left out of that story. We recorded you. I had a Sony Handycam that had a 32 times zoom. And I had this little handheld tripod. This was long before people were doing YouTube vlogs. I mean, maybe some people were, but they weren't like, you didn't have good cameras for that stuff like they do now. And this Sony Handycam was pretty good camera and had that 32 times zoom. And I had bought a little aftermarket lens for it, a cinema lens for it. And I was making vlogs with it for this other website that was around during YouTube's infancy. And we saw you carrying them boxes in that fucking unit. And I wanted to see what the hell was up. So I sat there at the end of that row and zoomed that camera in. And if you guys have seen a camera that's zoomed, it's very shaky. So I finally planted that little tripod on the hood of my truck and I zoomed it way in to where you could get a fairly decent shot of what was going on. And every box you toted in that unit on that camera, Jeremy, showed up in a video of yours about 3 days later where you were unboxing it in this wonderful unit you bought. So, yeah, don't even try to deny it. I'll dig that video out faster and you can say shit. Because I know I still got it on a hard drive somewhere. I know I do. Because I did a total backup of all that stuff from Vloggerhead days. I just cannot believe he made that fake tear and he's got cancer again. And the truth is, he came to Florida and she left back to Ohio as quick as she could. And it ain't nothing to do with no doctor's appointment. Who would if your girlfriend had serious cancer again, that was serious, like not looking good this time to the point where you're crying? Why would you need to be in Florida, Jeremy? Why wouldn't you have went right back to Ohio to the doctor with her? There's nothing in Florida that you need to be there. You don't have any family there. All you got there is grass to mow. That's it. So why wouldn't you? I mean, your girlfriend. It's your long-term girlfriend. You're just going to say, okay, honey, I know I haven't seen you for 3 months and we haven't physically touched for 3 months. But go ahead, go back to Ohio. And if you survive the cancer this time, let me know. Bye, honey. Come on, Jeremy. That didn't happen. That didn't happen, Jeremy. Did it? How many people? Put a 1 in the chat if you would just wave bye at your girlfriend to go to another state and deal with her life-threatening cancer. when you ain't got nothing holding you there, you got no family, no. What do you got? What do you got in Otter Creek? Like 2 whole friends. The rest of the town hates your guts. Absolutely despise the look of you. Because you're the narcissistic POS. Not everyone else. You're the common denominator, just like Upchurch. Just like Upchurch with all those people. Let's take a look at that list again. Hold on a second. Let's take a look at that list again. This is for you, JustTrey. Let me get this baby zoomed in. Let's take a look at this list. Yeah, okay. Let's go ahead and share that, baby. Okay, JustTrey. So these are the people you're not luckier than, JustTrey. You're not luckier than Adam Calhoun, Jace Matthew, Jelly Roll, Broadnax, Luke Combs, Justin Adams, Nicole Arbor, his own father, Heavy Duty Country, his own mother, Katie Noel, St. Mises, Morgan Wallen, Johnny Cashville, Struggle Jennings, and many, many more. Those are all the people that Ryan has slandered after they dared work with him or communicate with him or have a relationship with him in any way. We're supposed to believe that all of these people are just worthless pieces of shit and Ryan's the angel. Well, JustTrey, I'll make you a bet. See where it says your name here? Your name will be there if you let him worm his way into your career. Stay away. Take my warning, son. Stay away. Just stay away. Do yourself a favor and hook up with Adam Calhoun and Broadnex and Jelly Roll and those people, the real people, the genuine people. not some pompous have-been that's washed up, that literally, it aggravates me to know, that Upchurch could have been a legend, man. See, the problem is you can't do what he did. No one's going to remember. You know, his good shit was in 2014, 15, 16, 17. Bangers every time he released something. Incredible soundtrack. Incredible voice and arrangement. All good stuff, man. He hardly put out anything that an old guy that don't even like rap couldn't listen to and jam to. I mean, it was just good stuff, man. Radio Jam and that, all the songs like that, and you know, Outlaw, and man, he had some bangers, dude. Good stuff. You can't do that and then go hiatus and do all this slanderous shit to all these innocent people. Randomly pick out a female war veteran on a podcast and accuse her of heinous crimes against children from your celebrity platform where your music is at. You do that. The same way Jeremy Hales is going to learn the hard way. You can't slander your neighbors for 2 years and tell a bunch of grossly exaggerated lies and still think your storage unit channel is going to survive, because it won't. It just won't. People are going to remember the slander. And for Upchurch, his legacy will be the lawsuit, having to file bankruptcy, the slander in his mom, the slander in his dad, the slander in Chase Matthew, the attacks. I mean, that's what people are going to remember. Them songs that he made in 2014, 15, 16, 17 will get very little airplay. And he ain't put out anything good since then. I'm sorry. That last album he put out, I listened to about 6 seconds. As soon as I heard that muddy, and I mean muddy, gooey, sticky, just sloppy, canned beat, I was done. When you can't distinguish, when the track is so muddy that you can't distinguish any particular instrument, I got a problem. There's no guitar licks in it. There's no guitar riffs in it. You barely hear the drums. All you hear is that canned, overdriven bass and canned keyboard shit. And just sucks. Sucks. That's never going to be a bang. It's never going to be good. I don't care. You could have Michael Jackson sing on one of them tracks and it would suck. I don't know where he's getting that crap at, but it's horrible. It's just untalented noise. It's terrible. And the sad part of it is he's surrounded by all these simps that are dependent on him. So won't none of them go, Ryan, that track sucks, dude. No one around him's got balls enough to say that. They all got to go, man, that sounds good. It's a banger. Hell yeah, man. Wow, yeah, backwoods. Yeah, I bet so. You probably think just like me. Shame on you, dude. Shame on you, Jeremy. George's cancer didn't come back. She left you. And you need to own up to that. And George, if you're smart, you'll stay away from that shit. You will not let him put that on you. Don't do it. Man, you talk about a hailstorm of hate. You let people find out you lied about that. I'm telling you, you don't want that. If you take any advice, George, you better tell Jeremy to walk that shit back and don't ever do that again. Make up some other excuse. Don't use cancer. Wow. I didn't know that, Harlow. Wow. How long ago was that? Was that like years ago or recent? Or? Holy cow. Harlow says her husband died in hospice. I mean, that's terrible. I couldn't imagine. You know, when my first wife had that brain aneurysm, my kids were wee little. And when they flew her to, they took her by ambulance from Lancaster, Ohio to Columbus, Ohio. And when I got there, that neurosurgeon and the preacher dude took me down to the chapel and was telling me brain aneurysm, inoperable, likely not going to survive it. Man, I was just freaking out because she had two girls that were just school age. And my boys both were still toddlers. And man, was I scared to death. That was really a rough thing to deal with. 12 years ago. Man, I'm so sorry to hear that. That's terrible. That is terrible. I'd say they're pretty equal. Twisted says, which is worse, stolen valor or lying about having cancer? And I would say they're pretty equal. I mean, that's pretty low blow stuff. There you go. Wow. Check that out. 100%. Industrial Crow. Man, I like that name. Jeremy is her cancer. Yes. He's a cancer on Otter Creek. I mean, he is a cancer on the whole town. And I think it's funny now, you know, he's downplaying selling this property, but I think he's got to sell that property to give George her portion. I think if we knew the truth, that's probably more along the lines of what's going on. And what's he going to do with that acreage down there when there ain't nobody there that likes him? You know, that Madam Mayor that lies for him and pretends to be a Christian right along with him, her and her husband, those two fake Christians that slander people and secretly record people and defame people and try to get a woman's child taken away from her and make false CPS reports and all that, and then tell you what great Christians they are and how they're better than everybody else because they go to church. Those people, they don't live there anymore. So Jeremy's got no assets in that town without George there. George ain't there. All he's got's that old hag that would drop to her knees and slurp his sack at a moment's notice. And that's it. Nobody else. You know, they might tolerate him. They might like wave at him, tolerate him, but that's as good as it'll ever get with that guy because they know that if they ever crack one of the eggshells he makes them walk on, he'll be another victim of his YouTube channel. the same way Ryan Upchurch does people. You work with him, and now you are sworn to a life sentence of holding his balls. And if you even let loose long enough to stretch your arm, you're going to be a victim of his YouTube channel. Now, the good news is Ryan's getting the views of an amateur these days. I mean, his fucking views are dismal. And I started to say before I got sidetracked on that too. Glad I remembered right away, because this is a point I want to make, and it's important. All you diehard crack squattians that think there's nothing wrong with slandering a grieving family and accusing innocent people of heinous crimes against children from a celebrity platform, those that you low IQ simpletons that can't be man enough to say that's wrong, you guys, and he was number one. There's only one way anybody on planet Earth would know that Ryan released a new album. No podcast is going to mention it. No other celebrity is going to mention it. No radio station is going to mention it. The only way you would know that he released a new album would be if you are a subscriber and listener of his YouTube channel. So when you come to me with this crap about number one, and I see that he's only getting 30,000 views on his YouTube channel when he's talking about the album being released, I already know there can't possibly be more than 30,000 people that even know about the album. And maybe 40% of those might buy it. The rest of them will do what all his other, crack squad scum does. They'll just watch the YouTube video. They won't ever spend their money on it. They're waiting for Ryan to give them something. And, I noticed Ryan made a video a while back talking about, man, some of these people, I'm not messing with them no more. Like, he must have saw Wade's channel. He must have saw them other jerks that run to the police when, people do to them what they do to others. They run to the police, thinking the police are going to enforce their feelings being hurt. Oh, man, hate to hear that, dear. At least you got somebody. That's awesome. Imagine trying to deal with that alone. That would suck. Yeah, well, I see about once a month, I will do a search and I will see some jerk making a video about Kylie's family or Kylie repeating Ryan's hallucination. I will make this point before I get sidetracked. Anyway, when you see that his YouTube channel only has 30,000 views, then only 30,000 people can know that he released an album. Kids. It's simple math, man. How else would they know? How else? What avenue would there be? Oh, wow. Upchurch put a new album out. How would you know about that? If you didn't watch his YouTube videos, how would you know? I mean, if I'm wrong, tell me. Say, oh, no, there's this other place where you would find it out. Where would that be? His Instagram account is gone. And it's totally throttled back. Nobody sees it. And then he's got his YouTube channel with his wrecked algorithm, thanks to the people that call themselves his friends. All the people that claim to be his friends wrecked his YouTube channel with their foulness. So don't give me the number one anymore. It's just a big smoke screen. I never forget the day these simpletons. Some of you people that are new to this, to tell you how low IQ this hardcore crack squad fan base of his is. And when I tell you low IQ, I mean these are some of the most dense humans on earth. Okay. I mean, Ryan could shit in a bucket and stir it and tell them it's chocolate ice cream and they'd eat it. Okay. To tell you how dense these people are. They were going, he outsold Taylor Swift. That's what they said. Because they went to the streaming stats and Taylor Swift hadn't released an album in 8 months. And on the day Ryan released his new one, more people downloaded the new album than downloaded the one that's been out for 8 months. And they think that means he outsold Taylor Swift. Well, let me tell you, if Ryan would have put his song out on the same day that Taylor put a new album out, he would be crushed. And I got to still laugh at this absurdity, folks. When I tell you these people are low IQ, I mean, when I tell you they're low IQ, just the common sense stuff that you and I just know just because, I mean, it's just like a default thing, you know, they struggle with. They absolutely struggle with it. But he can tell them, I'll give you an example. That town in Hawaii, and excuse me, I forget the name of it. I never did pronounce it right anyway. But the town in the state, in the part of Hawaii near Maui that got hit with the high wind firestorm has a population of 23,000. That's the population of the town. Okay. 60% of the town was houses in the town were damaged in some way. Ryan saw one of these stupid TikToks saying that there were 80,000 children missing. 80,000 children missing from this town with a population of 23,000. Okay. That only 60% of the town was affected by the fire. And I say only, not meaning to minimize it, but it was 60% of a 23,000 population. And here's Crack Squad, 80,000 kids are missing. Because Ryan said it. And not a single one of them ever Googled that. Now, I'm not like super intelligent or anything, you know. I'm just like an old country boy, you know. Lucky to make it through high school. But I got sense enough to know in today's age where everyone's got a camera on their phone. If 80,000 children were missing, you'd be able to find at least one parent going, help me find my kid on a video or something. Why are there none of those Crack Squad? Why are there no parents going, help me find my kid? My kid's missing ever since them fires. There are no kids missing from there. None. Not one. Not one kid is missing from there. That was all just a stupid made up TikTok video that Ryan repeated because he's a recluse shut in and he don't know these things, he this simpleton, folks, for those of you that weren't there, you'll enjoy this. This simpleton, there was a guy named Ronnie Jones who called in to a true crime podcaster's channel when the Rodney case was hot in the news. And he said, my two cousins went to that party. We lived there. I used to go to that park and party when I was a teenager. And, just like your town has a place where the kids used to go party when you went to school, like every town does, right? Every community has that party place where the kids go and party. Well, this Prosser campground was it for Truckee, California. That's where all the kids went. It wasn't any big deal that there was a high school graduation party there because there's a party there every weekend. Every weekend, that's where you're going to find the kids of that town partying out there at the campground. That's just where they go. That's where they go cruising. That's where they go partying. That's where they go parking. It's the party place. And this Ronnie Jones called in to Icked Mel's live stream and said, hey, I got some things I can share. My two cousins went to that party. And while they were there, they saw her. They didn't realize they had seen her till they saw her pictures on the news. And when they saw her pictures on the news saying she's missing from that party, they went, oh, wow, we saw that girl at the party. And we saw her throughout the night here and there. Like they said they seen her once, like walking towards the parking lot. And then a couple hours later, they saw her walking with some guy. And then a couple hours later, they saw her walking back to her car again. That's it. That was the gist of the story. Now, there was some conversation back and forth, but that's the meat of what he said. That my two cousins went to that party and they saw her periodically throughout the night, sort of just verifying that she was there. And this Ronnie Jones, Upchurch all of a sudden decides this Ronnie Jones is a suspect now because he said he used to party there when he was a teenager and kids did drugs. That's just like where I grew up. We had a place called Clear Creek. You could go there on Friday or Saturday night, any given night, and there'd be 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 kids there. You never knew. There'd be a little party or a big party, but one way or another, there were people there. I never went there that there wasn't people there. And people be smoking weed, selling drugs, whatever. High school kids, teenagers partying. You're going to have alcohol. You're going to have weed. You're going to have drugs. It just goes with the flow, especially in a place like California. So Ryan decides Ronnie Jones is a suspect. And he takes to doxing this dude and finding out where he lives and all this. And then Ryan gets on Google satellite view, street view. Okay. And only Ryan, because he's a recluse shut in and he surrounds himself with yes boys, he has no clue at all how Google Maps and Google Street View works. I think he thought it was live. I think Ryan thought that when you switched to satellite view, you were seeing like a live view. He wasn't aware that those images that you're seeing could be up to 12 years old. Some of them more than that. When Google sends that car out to map all the streets, if there are no new addresses, okay, like if there's an area where there have been no new homes built, they're not going to remap it because there's no need to. It's a GPS software to help you find addresses, right? So Ryan gets on satellite view, street view, in this neighborhood where he thinks Ronnie Jones lives. And he zooms in on this guy sitting in a garage. And he swears up and down that's this Ronnie Jones character because he has the same shoes on. And so now this guy's a suspect. There's only one problem. You look down at the bottom of the page where it tells you the date when that image was taken, and it was 12 years old. Ronnie Jones would have been a child when that picture was taken. And I don't think sneakers last 12 years. And there are still simpletons that believe that. There are still simpletons. His crack squad base, Creek Squad's gone. There is no Creek Squad anymore. There's all that's left is the low IQ crack squad, the filth of YouTube. And some of them still believe that was Ronnie Jones sitting in that 12-year-old satellite view image. And they had a brand new police station that had only been there for a year. It was a brand new community building / police station. Truckee's kind of a small town. And they built a brand new community center and police station a year before Kylie went missing. Ryan's looking at a 10-year-old Google satellite view, and he can't find the police station. All that's there is a construction site. So he starts saying that the police are fake and the news reporters are fake, and they're all faking it because the police station ain't real. I'm not kidding you. That's how dumb these people are. I mean, that is literally who we're dealing with, man. I mean, they got the brains of toddlers. So to move away from that a little bit, talk about the election we're facing. And I see this comment here. I got to see this. Okay. I thought you were talking about something else. Anyway, you got to go vote. Honest to God, you have to. You can't not do it. He has to get so many votes that the cheating can't overcome it like it did in 2020. And I know I talked about this before, but I'm going to tell you exactly how they were able to steal that election. What they did was, and as many of you know, when we went to bed, Trump was winning in every swing state by a hefty margin. But then we had a 2-week long vote count, and he slowly lost those leads, right? And you say, well, how did that happen? Because I can tell you in Pennsylvania, Trump was up by a couple 100,000, and it was, close to midnight. And that's usually when all the voting's, pretty much all the polls are closing. Everybody's been there. And when I wake up in the morning, he's losing by 200,000. I'm like, well, wait a minute. The polls closed at midnight. And you say, well, how did that happen? What did they do? And I'm going to tell you exactly what they did and why it's so important that you got to vote. You can't set this one out. I'm telling you, it's going to affect your life if you don't. It's going to affect your life negatively if you don't. You can vote tomorrow. You can early vote. All states have early voting now. It's at where you register to vote. You can go vote right now. Most of them are open 24 hours. The little place where you go in and put your vote in. or if anything, they're open till 7 or 8 p.m. Even like you could go tomorrow and vote. You have to. If you didn't vote, you got to go vote. You have to. You just have to. It's probably the most important decision you're going to make. And what they did was, because they were allowed to have a delayed count, they were able to narrow down how many votes they needed where to win. So by using these machines that are connected to a centralized server that's connected to the internet, that has backdoor access, they ran algorithms. And so you just simply run one algorithm that says, how many registered voters are there in this district? And you run that algorithm and you write that number down. And then you run another algorithm that says, of the registered voters in this district, how many of them voted? And you run that algorithm. And then you subtract the difference between the amount of registered voters in that district and the amount that actually voted. And you're going to find out there's a huge difference, because people pass away and they're still on the voter rolls. People move, they're still on the voter rolls. So, and then there's people that just simply don't vote. They might have voted years before, but now they don't. So now that you have, and I had gotten into a bit of an argument with a guy at the barber shop, a Democrat, of course, who thought that there was no difference between a mail-in ballot and a absentee ballot. And he was like, well, we've always done absentee ballots. What's the big deal with mail-in ballots? I said, well, they're not the same. Oh, yeah, they are. It's like, no, they're not. An absentee ballot is, you have to call where you registered to vote and say, hey, I need to do an absentee ballot, please. Okay. They then send that absentee ballot to the address you registered to vote with. And then if you're out of the country or you're somewhere, it's up to those people to get it to you. So you can fill it out and mail it in. It's already filled out with your info on it. It's got your registration ID. It's got your signature on it. It's got your name on it. It's got your address on it and all that. That's an absentee ballot. Also, your local voter register then goes into the system and says, this voter will be voting via absentee ballot. So now the system knows you're voting absentee. So no one can come in and vote as you at a poll station somewhere, because it's already in the system that you're voting absentee. A mail-in ballot is a blank piece of paper, not attached to anyone, not attached to any name, not attached to any voter register poll station, not attached to nothing. It's just a piece of paper that anybody can fill out. So there is a massive difference between the two. So after they ran these algorithms that told them how many registered voters there were in the county, and then ran a second algorithm that said, and of those registered voters, how many actually voted? Now they know exactly how many mail-in ballots they can fudge for that district. Right? But that ain't all. And so before we get to the next step, I would dare bet there's 30% of registered voters that either or passed away, don't live anywhere, don't live there anymore, or just didn't vote. But it can equate to a lot. So what'd they do? Well, they cast votes for those people. And they used mail-in ballots to do it. And that's why we had so many that had one checkbox only. Just one thing on the whole ballot checked, and that was just the presidential vote. So it was an abnormality. Then they run another algorithm that says how many addresses are there in this district? And of those addresses, how many are registered to vote? And then now they'll have a list of every address that isn't attached to a registered voter. Grab your pile of mail-in ballots again, and you start registering people at these addresses. And that's how they were able to do it. And the only way that that's possible is if you have a delayed count. Otherwise, they would have no idea where, to do that in every district would be impossible, right? We don't have enough, they wouldn't have enough manpower. But in swing states where they know if our candidate gets this one, and this one, we win. So they'll send people to those areas to do what I just described. And they got white vans running around with boxes full of ballots in them. We all saw the videos. We know that's what happened. That's why you got to go vote. A, nobody can use your spot. The system will say, nope, that voter voted. And two, he'll have so many votes, they can't overcome it using those methods I just described. So if you didn't vote, you owe it to the people in your life to go do it. Because if you don't, you're going to be partly to blame. And I'm telling you, this is probably the most important election. I've been through a lot of elections, guys. This is a big deal. And because this power grab is massive. I mean, I know you guys all watch I know you guys have seen what I see, right? When you watch the First Amendment auditors. Look at all the courthouses where these little local governments did these power grabs during COVID, where you stopped everybody at the door and you had to sign in to come in, or you had to make an appointment. They close at noon on Friday now. Okay, they did all this shit during COVID. Well, they've held on to that. They made that power grab during COVID, and now they've not wanted to relinquish it. And so now there's a lot of courthouses you go to. These are the people's building, right? That we own these buildings. These people work for us, and those buildings belong to us. You have to give your name. You have to sign in. Some of them now have kiosks make you punch in your social to come in the damn courthouse, to go to the clerk of courts or get a property deed copy or pull up an archive or whatever. And you know why they have you punch your social in? One, to keep track of everybody that comes and goes, and two, to check you for warrants while you're there. Because cops are too lazy to go out and solve real crime. And so that power grab from COVID, they've not turned that loose. And I'm telling you, if you don't go vote and this goes the wrong way, you're never going to get a vote again. And just remember me telling you that. And I'm telling you, if this breaks out into something terrible, you're going to be brought to your knees in a couple of days. If you don't have a garden, a fruit cellar, and cash stashed, what are you going to do? What are you going to do when there's a run on the bank and a run on the grocery stores, and you got 3 days worth of groceries in your house and $20 cash around the house? You're going to be in a hell of a hurt in about 3 days. You're going to really be desperate. And I'm telling you, it could go that way so quick. So go vote. Just do it. Don't give a damn. No excuses. And I see some of you guys were talking about that hurricane. Okay, my first wife, the one that just got put in hospice, her sister and her mother live about 11 miles north of Chimney Rock. And they did not, their homes weren't hit. Everybody was all worried, and all this. They weren't hit. They live in a township. It's not like a town or a village, but they live in this township where it's like this cluster of houses out in the county. I'd say there's like 40, 50 houses around this little like cluster, and there's like a carry out and a little hardware. I think it's a True Value hardware store, and like 2 little restaurants and post office. And but we went down there. We took a cruise down there, and I'll tell you, I felt so bad for so many of those people, because there was this parade of cars going by with people holding their phones out the window and recording. Like they were like zoo animals on display. It's just, when I saw that, because I was going to take some videos myself. And when I saw that, it just set something off in me, and I didn't record anything. I just thought, man, what would that be like, having your house all fucked up, and here's cars just bumper to bumper going by recording you? And that's what was going on, man. It was sad. And to see all these damn YouTubers recording their charity. Oh, that's so disgusting. Damn, that shit's disgusting. Don't ever do that. Don't ever do that. Them people were so tired of having cameras shoved in their face. And if you showed up at my house to supposedly help me, but you got a camera in my face while you're doing it, don't do that. There was way too many. Appreciate that, Kevin. There were so many people doing that, dude. I was like, part of Skyline Drive was closed. We went over Skyline Drive, and we ended up getting on this county road that like would swing around the back of the the national park, and come out north, about an hour north of Asheville. And we decided to go that way. And man, I would like, you go by, and there'd be like a little convenience store parking lot with like a big donation box thing, where people are coming and giving donations. Okay. And there were so many people standing there with cameras. And every one of them is probably going to upload it to YouTube or TikTok or Instagram or something. And dude, I saw people that didn't live there taking shit out of the donation box. But there are some shitty human beings out there, man. Yeah.
They actually caught one lady that was like lived in another state. And she was there seeing what she could type out of the donation stuff. And she had a chainsaw and a kerosene heater, like brand new shit. She didn't even live there. Man. And a lot of people were like afraid to ask, are you from the area? Because, man, if they just lost their house, you know, but they finally had to start doing that, and they had to start giving ID. But another thing that was going on was these dudes were setting up roadblocks. Okay. And let's say you're heading down this county road, and all of a sudden there's two dudes sitting there on side by sides, and they stand up, and one of them stands in the middle of the road and holds his hand up to get you to stop. And there's roads closed everywhere, and there's people being stopped. So you don't really question it, right? And so you stop. And they ask you some questions like, oh, do you live here, man? And you're like, oh, no, man, I just came down, we're just here to help out, man. We're giving some donations. Okay. Now, I want you to understand there's no phone service, right? No electric. So now they know you don't live there. You don't know your way around. And so 2 miles down the road, they're going to call with their little walkie-talkies, their buddy, say, yep, you can rob this guy. He ain't from here. And a bunch of fucking out-of-staters got robbed. I guess like 15, 20 people got robbed that way along one of the roads there, they were telling us. It's like, man, I mean, you got to be pretty low down to go rob people in the middle of a disaster. But there are some humans that will do it. But yeah, I just couldn't. After seeing how many people were recording people, I thought, you ain't gonna catch me pointing my shit at nobody. And it just seemed so distasteful. But there were a lot of people that did a lot of good things. But unfortunately, some of the YouTubers out there made it about them and their video. And look at me, look at what a wonderful guy I am because I did XYZ, but yeah, there were some people getting robbed, people taking donations when they were from another state that wasn't even affected. I think a lot of the stuff about FEMA confiscating that was a little exaggerated because we didn't see any of that. And none of the people around there told us anything like that happened. We only stayed there 2 days, but we just went down there to just see, just kind of look around. And I kind of felt bad about it after we did. But we had a contact there and their shit didn't get affected. So we thought, heck yeah, we'll just take a ride. And, yeah, it was very eye-opening. And, man, so many of those roads got ruined. And it's a shame because I don't know how many of you have been down Skyline Drive, but it's incredible. We like to, there's many, I haven't for the last 2 years, but prior to that, we would try to go down Skyline Drive every fall down to the Smokies. And, it's just beautiful. Well, I guess that thing's going to be closed for a long, long time, they said. Like almost half of it. And that's a shame because it is really, really a beautiful drive. If you've never been down, it's awesome. Over the Shenandoah and down into the forest is cool. And then you start heading into the mountains. It's crazy. The scenery and the trees turning, it's just awesome. But anyway, that's about all I got to shoot the shit about. I appreciate you guys that, checked in or whatever. But, the gist of it is I just haven't been in the mood with all the bullshit going on. I just wasn't in the mood for the negativity. It just, it's kind of like a time and a place for it. And I just wasn't into it. Get to some of these comments. Yeah. Right there. Now he's selling his 70 acres, looks as if he's running. That's exactly. Let me tell you something. He knows he painted himself in a corner with John and Lynette. He never in a million years hedged the bet that they would get a competent attorney, and they would get a huge bunch of people wanting to help them. And I think he thought his lawsuit threats would keep people quiet. And I can tell you where you screwed up, Jeremy. Let me tell you where it all went wrong for you. It's when you ran your mouth on Guapo after he was nothing but a friend to you, dude. It's all he ever was, just a friend. And you don't mess with someone's relationship. If your friend and his girl break up, you stay out of it. You don't offer him a job. You don't take him out to dinner. You don't do anything. You stay out of it. That's what friends do. And so Guapo had every right to be disappointed. And he very respectfully just let you know, hey, man, it's disappointing. And what did you do? You acted like an insane lunatic. You looked so childish on that video, Jeremy. Oh my God, dude, you looked so bad. And that's where it went to hell, right there. Because now Guapo's got receipts and he's credible. You're not. You've been caught lying too many times. You have no credibility. And Guapo's got amazing credibility. So your goose is cooked. And I can tell you that's why he's selling, because he's painted into a corner. He knows when he goes to court that there's no way a judge is going to grant him losses after the way he has stalked those people relentlessly for 2 years. You know, he's the one making videos about them. He's the one saying stuff about them to his 700,000 subscriber. He's the one that's got cameras focused on them. He's the one that is dragging them to court. But yet, he wants a judge to believe that somehow he's a victim of them. And he knows that that's not going to be possible. He figured Lynette would not even show up to court. And now that he knows she's got an attorney that knows what he's doing, and he's doing it pro bono, he knows his goose is cooked. So what's the way out of this? Well, make excuses to sell, and then I just won't be here to worry about neighbors. And I think that George owns a pretty good portion of that. I know two Lees had looked up the property deed, I believe, and her name is on that house up there in Ohio too. So I don't know how that would go. I know Ohio's a no-fault state, and they don't honor, they don't do the common law. So I don't know. I don't know what Florida is, but he's selling because he sort of doesn't have a choice. Exactly. You know, they keep talking about this kid, Samantha Springham said no 5-year-old should have to see their mom and dad persecuted and stressing over going outside on their own property because of cameras and lies. That's very true. kids pick up on that. And let's see what else. So yeah, ain't none of them cares about that kid. Jeremy was doing that to make comment. I can tell you the neighbor feud videos are popular on YouTube. They do get a lot of views. People love drama. And that was why he's doing it. He just didn't realize when to quit. He didn't know when enough was enough. Like if he would have did it a little bit and grabbed some views and some likes and picked up a few new subs from it and moved on, it would have been good. But the fact he kept hammering and hammering and hammering, it started making people see the truth and get disgusted. And then when we see a video of him chasing Guapo like a crazed lunatic, when Guapo didn't do anything to deserve that, nothing. Just by, hey, dude, I'm really disappointed. You could have hired anyone. You hire my ex-girl, man? Come on, dude. I thought we were friends. What's going on here? That constituted the shit we saw in that video? I don't think so. So, and I want to tell you guys, Two Lees in a Pod, great podcast. They have done so much for that family. You wouldn't believe what they've done for her. Oh, I mean, if there's anybody in this whole thing that can claim a Christian act, it's them. It sure as hell ain't Madam Mayor and Jeremy Hales. I wouldn't stand near neither one of them when the rapture starts happening, because you get your ass fried by lightning. Listen to this dumbass. I still don't understand why you don't like it. What did he ever do to you? How can you be this stupid, dude? How can you be that dumb? What do you think Ryan did? It isn't what he done to me. It's what he done to innocent women. He doxed Zaname, her mom, and her sister. And when I tell you he doxed them on a live stream from his channel, you simpleton, I'm talking vehicle, work, address, full name, all of it. And then accused her of stolen valor, a 2-time war veteran, decorated, accused her of heinous crimes against children. He accused her of deleting that child. And he wasn't kidding. And then he tried to claim, I mean, there was a whole news article about her helping her family get here from Ukraine because there was a war going on that they didn't have any control over. If Joe Biden declared a war right now and we started getting bombed, would it be your fault? Just because you're an American? And these were 3 women that were living alone, you simpleton, in a strange country. And now they've been fully doxxed by somebody that's got a bunch of crazed lunatic fans like you. And they were stalked and harassed and slandered. There's 1. 2, he made videos saying that 2 grieving parents and a grieving grandfather that just lost a precious child in a tragic auto accident were liars and that the child was fake. And then he completely, 100% fully doxed them. From his 3 million subscriber YouTube channel with a bunch of crazed, lunatic, low IQ fans like you. And he continued to accuse them of being common thieves, accused them of continued to claim that there was no evidence that Kylie Rodney existed, which was just absurd. While these people are burying their child, he's on a live stream laughing at them. And if he was just some stupid Joe Blow like you, nobody would have cared. But unfortunately, he was a celebrity with a huge amount of influence over low IQ simpletons like you that still slander those people today. It's got nothing to do with me not liking Ryan. I don't like what he did to innocent people. I hate bullies. And he has bullied 3 women and grieving parents and a grieving grandfather for 2 fucking years. And he's encouraged you shit stains to do it with him. And you did. Now, you got any more questions that are that stupid? There were a lot of fans like me that helped him get where he's at today by liking, sharing, and buying. And we all told him we didn't like it, stop it. And he told us to go fuck ourselves. I can't believe you're as dumb as you are. You are one of the most dumbest humans I've ever endured. This guy was like giving people death threats because they told the truth about Ryan Upchurch. Like death threats. Because somebody criticized a rapper he likes. He's making death threats. That's how low IQ this individual is. I mean, he's got the brains of about a 3-year-old. You're right, Native J. Native J says JustTrey will be the next Chase Matthews. Ryan's trying to ruin his career, and that's exactly what's going on, JustTrey. Stay away from that son of a bitch. He's toxic, narcissistic, selfish, and he will fuck you in the end. You better listen. That's all I'm telling you. Because you won't like what he does. Go talk to Chase Matthew. See if we got any other comments. I can't believe Hillbilly's still that stupid that he thinks this is some personal thing about not liking somebody. He still don't understand how wrong it was for a fucking celebrity with a huge following to accuse innocent women of heinous crimes against children and then dox them. Do you realize that she was stalked in real life for like 9 months? Scared to go outside of her house. Scared to go to work. Because this son of a bitch lived right where she was at and was pestering her daily because of your Ryan Upchurch. And the fact that when he figured out he was hallucinating and none of the shit in his mind was real, he wasn't man enough to walk it back or apologize. That's what's even more fucking sickening. A goddamn video that literally shows her go in the water the second that her cell phone quit pinging, and he still stands there and claims her parents faked it and Zanime killed a fake kid and Mel was trafficking because he had a purple light. And all you dumbasses believed him. You still believe him. You're so stupid. I want to know how in the hell you even function from day to day without constant supervision. Because I have never seen anybody so stupid. They can't figure out why Ryan lost thousands of his fans. Thousands. Oh, gee, well, you just like guy. Oh, man, he made a good rap song this one time. So, you got to just look past anything he does. The shit he did to his mother was disgusting. Talk about going to pee on her grave. His own mother. Tripping balls. Whacked out of his gourd. Listening to the little stupid asses around him, filling his head full of bullshit. I don't know what the hell he sees in that amateur camera guy, but that guy is an absolute just piece of human excrement. Unfortunately, Ryan's algorithm's trash, and nobody with any sense will ever work with him again. No large podcast is ever going to want anything to do with him. He's never going to get invited to be anywhere where he'll be seen or heard from. The only people that'll know of his existence are you simpletons that still watch his videos. Beyond that, he has no career. Nobody even knows he exists. If he went to California, there wouldn't be a soul there that knowed his name or ever even heard of him. See if we got any other comments. I'll get a pull down here. Oh, me too. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy because I don't know if they'll take a settlement. Maybe they would. But I kind of doubt it because I think they want to teach him a lesson. And they went through all this hell to get it in the courts. So I think he's fucked, man. That's all I'm going to say. He's fucked. What's he going to say, hillbilly? Oh, it's just kidding, man. She's real. Her mom and dad wasn't in cahoots with the Laundry family. And they didn't scam any GoFundMe. I was just kidding. Yeah, I know. I told my 3 million fans that, and they stalked these people for a year, and they slandered them too, and about 800 YouTube videos were made repeating my nonsense. I was just kidding. Please don't sue me. Is that his defense? Well, I didn't mean to hurt their feelings when I said their child that just died in a tragic auto accident wasn't real and they faked it. I mean, I wasn't trying to Alex Jones them or anything. I was just giving my fans something to do. When I told all my fans to go after them and get them, I was just kidding. You see what I mean? Still charting. Where's it at today? Go look it up right now and tell us where it's at today. Bet you can't find it in the first 500. He cannot possibly sell one song more than the amount of views he gets on a YouTube video. That's the absolute most he can humanly possibly sell. Because there's no other way to know that that song exists but to watch his YouTube videos. And some of them, he's only getting 10,000 views. He's being sued for 30 million, you fucking moron. He don't have that much. You understand that, right? He does not have 30 million to give them. They're going to. I can promise you. Marie says, I hope they mop the floor with him. I do too. More so, if this would have been just about Ryan and not about the filthy pieces of garbage he calls fans, then I wouldn't be as anxious to rub it in their face, but I can't wait because I'm going to rub it in. The bullshit they did to me and did to Martin and did to Gobble. Scum. Absolute scum of the earth cowards. Every one of them. It takes a coward to block your number, then call someone and threaten them. That's just like cowardly stuff. Say your fucking name if you're going to threaten somebody. But, you know, a coward, he block his number because he don't want to own what he says because I might take him up on it. And he's too coward to face that. Well, Captain Kirk's the one that made up the fib about Adam having diss tracks. Captain Kirk is the one that convinced him that Zanime had something to do. A girl that's in college, a girl who came to the United States, applied to be in the military, did 2 terms, and then is in college and working full time in college and working full time. You know, I know you simpletons, you can't wrap your mind around it because most of you sit around waiting on Ryan to send you something for free. Otherwise, you got nothing going. But that's you don't have any free time really when you're in college and working full time. You might get 1 or 2 days a month to yourself. And someone that's made that big of an investment in their life, instead of sitting around smoking pot, listening to Upchurch albums, she did 2 terms in the military and was putting herself through college while working full time. And had just went through holy hell to get her mom and her niece and her sister here. They had to go through the back door of 3 different countries to get here. And it wasn't easy. That's why they did a whole big story about it on the news. To take someone like that and accuse them of deleting a child that they didn't even know because they had a purple light. They bought an LED light at Walmart and left it on the default color, purple. Because I promise you, you go buy an LED light, it'll be purple when you turn it on. That's the default color. Because she had a purple light, and because she lived near there, suddenly she's a suspect. You guys accused her of paddling over the body, which was a complete made-up lie. And he had you dipshits actually believing this stuff was real. He had you actually believing that she was a suspect to where you were surprised that the police didn't come and get her. She had to go on Popcorn Planet and be interrogated like she was guilty of something. You know, the funny thing is he made that video talking about, man, I've seen these guys, some of these guys doing this crazy stuff. You won't see me messing with them again. Talking about being a new father. And I'm thinking, how would you like it, buddy, if some celebrity like let's say Jelly Roll goes on Joe Rogan and says, oh, Upchurch, he's a liar. He didn't have no kid. That kid ain't real. Wonder how that would go down. And these simpletons are too stupid to know just how wrong it was what he did to these people. They don't get it. And the same thing we see Jeremy Hales doing. And it's so funny because Crack Squad's got a liar about cancer. And what the hell lies about cancer? What the hell is this celebrity that's slandering, tormenting, doxing, stalking, and bullying an innocent woman and her 5-year-old child? An Upchurch. Doxing, stalking, following, slandering an innocent woman and her 2 family members that had to flee a war. And they get to the United States. And the first thing they got to deal with is this stupid celebrity accusing them of doing something to a child they didn't even know. And all his crazed fans sending them messages and looking up their Facebook and looking up their Instagram and looking up their LinkedIn and looking up where they work and calling where they work and just the craziness that went on. Richard Patterson, that stupid coward piece of shit, threatening Zanime every day for like a year. Or Patrick Patterson, that closet fag. The shit he did to her was disgusting. Listen how dumb he is. It ain't about me. It's about somebody had to call it what it was because all you cowards weren't capable. The same way 2 Lees has stepped up. You know, when you see somebody being bullied, if you were bullied as a child, it triggers you, man. It triggers you. I seen that where he did that, you know, that kid is extremely immature. That's all I'll say about that. He is just one. I mean, anybody that has a guest on their podcast that is talking about being abused as a child, and you're typing away, not paying a bit of attention to what they're saying. Who does that? Math teacher. That's a cool one. Oh, for God's sakes. I know his character. I know his character better than you. He's a narcissistic, recluse, shut-in who is incredibly insecure. Incredibly insecure. That's all you need to know. Anybody that would slander and torment a grieving family that just lost their child and not let up and keep doing it, and then every 2 or 3 months firing it up again, encouraging their fans to do it too. I don't care about their character. They're just worthless. They're wasting part of the earth's oxygen that could be used for someone else that's doing something good. I don't give a goddamn how many hits he had. There's no excuse for what he did to those people. And there never will be. And there isn't any excuse for what you shit stains did to me, what you shit stains did to Gobble, what you shit stains did to Martin, what you shit stains did to anybody that had something to say. The shit you guys said about Cashville. The shit you guys said about Adam Calhoun. All because you think Ryan's going to give you an attaboy. I don't care what your opinions are. You're garbage to me. You're just garbage. Anybody that can't see the wrong and accusing a celebrity, accusing innocent people of a heinous crime that's in the news. And that's exactly why none of you have anything. It's exactly why none of you have ever accomplished anything. Y'all live in rundown rented trailers because you can't accomplish anything in life. It's shocking to me how similar all of you are. Hey, Mr. Virginia, you got Google. You know that court date's coming just as well as I do. Quit lying to yourself. What are you doing here? Well, yeah, Billy's going to prison for sure. You don't get to delete 6 people, or you don't get to attempt to delete 6 people because they hurt your feelings when they told you to get off their property for the 4th time and not go to jail. I mean, you go to jail for that stuff. Yeah, Billy will be doing, I bet he gets 5 years. I was looking at what when that first went down, and for some of you that don't know, Ryan's Upchurch's cousin Billy, Ryan keeps him like a bitch. Okay. Billy don't have to work. Ryan keeps him like a bitch. Gives him a place to live, gives him a car to drive, gives him money for food, gives him money for clothes, gives him money to be his friend and hang out. He's like Ryan's bitch. Okay. He is drunk on some alcohol that Ryan paid for while riding a side-by-side that Ryan bought. And he keeps going down to this boat shop down over the hill from the house that Ryan owns that he lives in for free. And he keeps going down there and doing donuts in their parking lot, slinging gravel all over their customers' boats. So they come out and tell him, hey, dude, please stop it. Don't come on our property no more. He goes home. They go back to doing what they're doing. Next thing you know, he's back doing it again. So they come out again and they tell him, dude, Quit coming down here and doing donuts in our lot and slinging gravel all over our boats. But he's like, man, you don't know me, man. I'm friends with Ryan Upchurch. I can come down here and do donuts I won't do. By God. How dare you tell me no? Don't you know who Ryan Upchurch is? I can do donuts down here. I want to. Ryan bought this side by side. I'm doing the donuts with. You can't tell me to leave. So when they came back a third time, they pulled a gun and said, dude, last time we're telling you, don't come back here. So since he's a bitch, because he's kept like a bitch and he's never had to be a man, it hurt his widow feelings. Instead of being somebody with some sense and saying, wow, I better quit trespassing on these people's property and slinging gravel all over their customers' boats, they appear to be mad. He goes home and gets his poo-poo and comes back and unloads 6 rounds at him, hitting one of them and injuring him. And Crack Squad, this dumbass, I'll show you a few of these turd burglars. This incredibly stupid human thinks you won't go to jail for that. Just like he thinks a celebrity wouldn't get sued for slandering innocent people. He thinks you won't go to jail for that because Ryan Upchurch. Yeah, because he's friends with Ryan Upchurch, so he's not going to go to jail. Yeah, he's going to be doing 5 or 6 years. That's what he's going to be doing. You know who reminded me of this turd burglar? Was that what's that stupid lady's name that's got Jeremy's nutsack in her mouth all day and all night? That old Haggerty looking thing that works down there at the schoolhouse. Mirtha or whatever. What's her name? Anyway, she threatened to beat up Thomas Collins on Jeremy's behalf. She threatened Thomas Collins on Jeremy's behalf. She told Thomas Collins, if you don't stop recording Jeremy the way he records everybody, he's going to beat you up. I said, did you used to be a man and call yourself hillbilly? Because they looked a lot alike, to be honest with you. I mean, hillbilly reminds you of like a dyke that's like 2/3 transition to a man. Got everything done but have the moobs cut off. That's hillbilly. Just picture a dyke with short hair and a half beard. And that's this hillbilly dude that thinks that there's nothing wrong with a celebrity slandering grieving parents and accusing innocent people of heinous crimes and slandering other artists that didn't do anything to deserve it. I mean, he, honest to God, reminds you of a half trans female to male. I mean, Google's free and these simpletons won't use it. I literally had someone in my comments yesterday, source. When I said, yeah, court case is moving forward. Source? What's your source, man? Where do you get this public information at? I mean, it can't be true. You can't sue Ryan Upchurch because he's Ryan Upchurch. He's allowed to do whatever he wants. Right there, honey badger. Why would you do that knowing you got a baby on the way? Exactly. Here's the problem. When somebody keeps you like a bitch, you've not had to work hard to get the car you drive. You haven't had to work hard to put a roof over you and your wife's or girlfriend's head. It's all been handed to you. You get this, I got nothing to lose mentality. There's so many guys like that in prison or hooked on drugs. It's that idle hands thing. Billy gets drunk every night because he don't have to get up and go to work. If he had to get up and go to work in the morning and he had to pay rent like a normal person, he couldn't afford to get drunk every night, and he couldn't get drunk every night because he'd have to get up and go to work the next day. Well, he's never had to do that. So he fell into this spiral of getting drunk and just driving around terrorizing the neighborhood he lives in for free. Because he don't have a care in the world. If he totals out the side by side, like slams it into a tree and bends it too, Ron, just get a new one. He wouldn't even have to worry about fixing it. You know, like, or he'd do what Ryan's other friend did and make up this big story about having your last $15,000 stolen out of the console of your car that you were going to go buy a trailer with. So Ryan would give it back to you. When it never really happened. No kidding. Dude, all that stuff's public information. I read the whole police report. What I just described is exactly what happened. They admitted they pulled a gun on him the third time. You know, they showed him a gun and said, do not come back. We're serious. Stay off our land. And his feelings got hurt, so he went home, and instead of going to bed, like a normal person would have to do, because they got to get up in the morning to pay their way in life, because they got to go to work. You know, when you live the bitch life, he went home, got his feelings hurt, and went down there and ruined his life. Absolutely ruined his life. He ruined his life. He ruined his girlfriend's future and ruined his newborn child's future in one sweep. And I'll bet you Ryan's stupid enough to still pay his way. Not knowing that he's not helping him, he's hurting him. Because he's turned him into a lifelong dependent that can't do anything for himself. Anyway, hey, appreciate all you guys tuning in. I'll try to do some more videos soon. I'll do it. I got a couple comedy parodies. I'll probably do it. And yeah, looking forward to the court hearing coming. Looking forward to watching Jeremy Hale's world crumble around him, because it's headed that way. He's overextended it, and it's gonna bite. And yeah, I hope George has got sense enough to just go get a really good lawyer and just call his bluff about court and just do one of two things: either get everything she's owed to her or bankrupt his ass in legal fees. Just keep filing new discoveries and new motions and more discovery, and drag it out for 3 years and just make him drain his bank account, paying attorneys to fight for him. Any of you people that don't think Ryan's going to be parted with all his money, Google Rodney versus Upchurch. That's what you do. And you'll see he's got no way out now. It's beyond all that. It failed in mediation. It failed in dismissal. It failed in discovery. It's going to court. Everybody have a good one. Appreciate you tuning in. And 2 Lees and a pod. Man, you guys are awesome. What you guys are doing is incredible. Catch you later.